The world was loud, roaring with pride, violence, and pleasure. Humanity had fallen into a rhythm of evil, celebrating sin and calling it freedom. The hearts of men had grown hard, deaf to the whispers of righteousness, blind to the hand of God. The earth groaned under the weight of corruption. Every city, every village, every home echoed with darkness. But in this world of noise, one man heard something different. A still, holy voice, a calling. His name was Noah. He wasn't perfect, but he was faithful. He walked with God when no one else did. He resisted the flood of wickedness long before the rain even fell. And then God spoke, not in thunder, but in warning. He revealed his sorrow, his grief. The Creator was ready to cleanse creation, a flood unlike anything before. And to Noah, God gave a task that sounded insane. Build an ark. Not a boat for a lake, but a massive vessel in the middle of dry land. A lifeboat for a dying world. Imagine it, decades of construction with not a cloud in the sky. Every hammer strike echoed like prophecy. Every nail challenged the culture around him. People came to mock, to laugh, to scoff. They said he was mad, that God would never destroy them. But Noah didn't stop. He didn't argue. He just built. Because faith isn't about understanding. It's about obedience. The skies were still clear. But something was coming. Not a storm, but a reckoning. And only one man was ready. The ark stood like a monument of defiance. Defiance not against God, but against the culture that had forgotten him. Built from gopher wood, sealed with pitch, measured in obedience, it wasn't just a boat. It was a prophecy. And as the final pieces came together, the world kept turning, blind to the countdown. Then something strange began to happen. The animals came, not by chance, not by human planning, but by divine guidance. 2 by 2, they moved with calm purpose, elephants and sparrows, wolves and deer, snakes and doves. Nature obeyed, even when humanity mocked. Crowds gathered to watch the bizarre parade. Yet even with the evidence marching in pairs before their very eyes, the people refused to believe. They laughed. They pointed. They turned away. They still had time, but not for long. Inside the ark, Noah prepared. His family, quiet but trusting, helped gather food, bedding, and supplies. The interior was dark, the smell of animals thick, but the air was charged with purpose. And then the door closed, not with a creak of wood or the tug of a rope, but with divine force. God himself shut it, a door of mercy, now sealed. No one outside knew the rain would begin that day. But heaven knew. Judgment was no longer a warning. It was already in motion. And the first drop, when it fell, wasn't just water. It was the sound of a promise kept. Rain, not gentle, not playful, but furious, like the sky had broken open. Water poured from the heavens in sheets, hammering the earth with relentless rage. But that wasn't all. The fountains of the deep burst upward, as if the planet itself was weeping from within. Rivers overflowed. Hills disappeared. Homes crumbled. Cities were swallowed whole. Screams filled the air, but they were drowned out by the roar of divine wrath. Outside the ark was chaos, desperation, regret. People clung to rocks, climbed trees, cried out for help. But the door would not open. Grace had an expiration date. Inside the ark, the world was different. Still not easy, but safe. The creaking of the wood, the cries of animals, the silence of a family waiting in faith. No sunlight, no escape, just trust. For 40 days and nights the rain fell, and even after it stopped, the waters did not. They lingered, covering the highest mountains, erasing everything once proud. Inside, Noah waited. He didn't know when they'd reach land. He didn't know how long they'd drift. But he knew the same God who warned him was the same God who preserved him. Sometimes the miracle isn't in the escape, it's in the endurance. The flood didn't end quickly. It required patience, faith, and stillness. And Noah, righteous, faithful, obedient Noah, held on. Because while everything else drowned, his hope floated. Then silence. Not the silence of fear, but of peace. One morning, the ark settled, nudging against a mountain peak. The rain had long stopped, and now the waters slowly began to recede. But still, Noah didn't rush out. He sent a raven, then a dove. He waited for signs, not just from the earth, but from heaven. And when the dove returned with a fresh olive leaf, something shifted. The world was breathing again. The flood had passed, and God had remembered Noah. But instead of celebrating with food or dancing, Noah did something far more powerful. He built an altar on dry land. Surrounded by emptiness and potential, he worshipped. The first act in a new world wasn't conquest. It was surrender, a sacrifice, a thanksgiving. And God responded. He made a covenant, not just with Noah, but with all of creation. No more global floods, no more complete destruction. And to seal the promise, God painted the sky with color, a bow of light, a symbol of mercy. A rainbow, not just a pretty sight, but a cosmic reminder that even after wrath, God remembers grace. The world was new, the air clean, but the real change wasn't in the ground. It was in the heart. Noah walked off the ark into a second chance. And that's what makes this story timeless. Because even when we face storms, even when we feel shut in, forgotten, or floating in uncertainty, God remembers. And if you trust Him, the same hands that close the door will be the ones to open it again into something beautiful.